Coach Bobby here, and we're going to talk today about how to set meaningful goals in 2025 or whatever year you might be watching this video and actually achieve them. So come over this way, let's get started. The first thing we want to do is understand our main thing, right? Understanding the main thing. So this main thing is often driven by a strategic goal, right? Your CEO, your executive board, your board of directors, they say, you know what, there's some things that we want to do in this year. There's some things that we want to do over the next 3 to 5 years, and here's what they are. That tells us what our main thing might be. Perhaps you're in a smaller organization and you're not in the room when that strategic goal is decided, but you're in a division, and your division can have strategic goals within itself. So there's a division goal that fits into the strategic plan. That's also a great way of thinking about what your main thing might be. Another way of thinking about this, if you're in a small organization, maybe you are leading your own thing, is your big, hairy, audacious goal, right? And with your big, hairy, audacious goal, it's something that you just think about. We want more customers, we want more revenue, whatever that thing might be. I would ask you to get more specific than just customer and revenue. Maybe it's we want to get better at how we follow after leads or our lead creation, whatever that might be. Whatever your big, hairy, audacious goal is, whatever your division goal is, your strategic plan goal, that creates your main thing. And I believe that in order for us to really understand the main thing best, it's critical that we understand our main thing from a qualifiable, right? What are the words? What are the behaviors? What are some of the ways that we want to be able to describe goal achievement? We want to be qualifiable. We also want to be quantifiable, right? How do we know by using numbers that we've actually arrived at our goal? So before we can move forward in doing anything, understanding the main thing is essential, and we do that by qualifiable and quantifiable language, right? I was doing some more videos on qualifiable and quantifiable language, because when we're qualifiable and quantifiable, we then know the value that we're tracking as we go after our main thing. So we've got our main thing, we understand what it is. Our next opportunity is to get clear on 3 things. What actions do we need to take? What steps do we need to take? And what outcomes will we be looking for? What action, steps, and outcomes will we be taking and looking for? So when I think about action, I think about actions in 3 ways. I think about actions in stop, start, and continue. What things do we need to stop doing in order for us to reach our main thing, or in order for us to add value to our main thing? What things do we need to start doing to reach our main thing? And what things are we already doing very well that we need to continue doing so that we can reach our main thing? Now, when I think about a distribution, if you were to ask me, Bobby, what percentage of our efforts should be in the stop, start, and continue, I'm going to say that our stopping of doing anything, well, let's start here with continue. I think that about 80% of what you're already doing, you're probably going to need to continue doing to be successful. So about 80%, these are things that you've already proven that you add value to the organization. They're your core functions. There might be some compliance elements here that your organization needs you and your team to continue doing in order for you to reach that main thing. Continue doing those things by 80%. About, let's go to stop next. About 15% of the things that you are currently doing, you probably want to think about stopping. They're probably in the way of your creativity and the value that you want to create in your organization, that you probably need to think about stop doing those things. About 15% of those. And right here, we're going to sum up, you guessed it, 5% of the things we want to start. Because we know that starting any new thing takes a lot of energy. And if we're going to create value for our teams, we want to not overburden them with too much change, right? We can have change fatigue when we're thinking about designing our work outcomes in this way. So 80% continue, 15% stop, 5% start. Now, we've got our stop, start, continue, focus, satisfied. Now we need to think about steps. I like what we learned in high school journalism class, right? The who, what, when, where, why, how. What steps do we need to take? Who's going to take them? What are those steps going to be? Of course, when and how. We'll come back to how later. But these questions, these fundamental questions, and maybe there's more questions that you want to ask, is help us get to root cause, right? We want to understand fundamentally what is it going to take for us to make these actions happen based on the distribution that we've identified. And finally, outcomes. Our outcomes, guess what, are going to go right back to our understanding. What qualifiable things can people expect from us, and what quantifiable numbers can people expect from us? Those are our outcomes, right? And we want to make sure that the things that we're doing are suited for the outcomes in our understanding. This is essential. All right, so I talked about coming back to this piece here about how. I believe that how and start have a relationship, because if we're going to start something new, we probably want to make some investments in our staff. We probably want to think about gaps that they have in their performance, in their behavior, and just their ability to get something done, and make some investment in how we train and develop and execute with staff. So that's a training and development implication when we think about how, right? And that might be an increased amount of mentorship and coaching on your part as well. Now, so we've done a lot of work. We understand what our main thing is. We understand it from a qualifiable, quantifiable way so that we can have value on the front end while we focus on outcomes on the back end, all focus on that same thing. We know what our action steps are. We know we have some ideas about some steps that we can take. And right here in steps, I really want to encourage you to bring your staff in as you think about these steps and start thinking about steps. They might have information about things that you aren't tracking. And so bringing them into this piece of it is going to be valuable for several reasons. And then that leads me to one of the main reasons that is going to be essential in making sure that you are successful with your goals, and that's communication. And oftentimes leaders do a lot of this work up front, right? Understanding what the value proposition is, understanding who needs to be doing what, aces in their places, all those great things, but we fail to communicate along the way. And so I want to give you something here. 7 times is how we need to communicate, 7 ways. And even more so, I want to communicate so much as a leader that my team is finishing my sentences when it comes to the work that we're up to and the value that we're trying to create for the organization. 7 times, 7 ways might look like emails. 7 times, 7 ways may look like making sure that it is a standing agenda item, something that you always refer back to, using qualifiable, quantifiable language to track your progress. 7 times, 7 ways says that these imperatives, these outcomes, these action steps, the distribution of efforts is communicated in performance goals at the individual level. We'll have another video on that soon, right? 7 times, 7 ways says I might say something during the annual picnic. 7 times, 7 ways says I might print a hoodie and wear some of our goals so people can see how important that is to me. So 7 times, 7 ways cannot be understated. I think a lot of our great ideas, our great planning sits on shelves because we don't take it to that next step and really make sure that we're communicating the value that we want to create, the expectation that we have on executing on the plans that we've made. I hope that this has been of value to you today. As you can look at your main thing, you can look at actions, steps, and outcomes, and the ways to communicate those things while you develop your staff so that they can create value while you create leadership value for your organization. My name is Coach Bobby. I'm so glad that you chose to watch this video. Stay tuned for more right here. Peace.